demanded peace. They're chanting, "No more war." And this is St. Petersburg, hundreds of miles away. As expected and true to historical pattern, police in riot gear cracked down on the war protesters and dragged demonstrators away in cuffs.
That was at the start of the war, but it seems Russians are protesting again. And this time they're protesting for a very different reason. Putin is learning the lesson that every failing dictator learns. He can silence the press, but he cannot silence empty stomachs. As Russians protest against the failing economy and higher tax bills, Putin has gone completely draconian, shutting down the internet across major cities because he fears the truth will spread. But the plan is backfiring. While Putin tries to push the narrative of security, Russians are seeing the light. The internet is only blocked for foreign apps, but state-approved apps like Macs are completely unaffected. This outrage has turned into a revolt. Russians are taking to the street to protest tax hikes, forcing Putin's government to ban protest under absurd pretext of celebrating Christmas. It's still November. The political cost of the war has finally become too high for Putin to control. Recent internet shutdowns are a step too far even for Russians. Just take a look at this.
These damn operators, Megaphone, Beeline, MTS, you take money for mobile internet, and you say you provide mobile internet. It's not us who are throttling it. So why am I not getting the service I'm paying for? I don't care who's throttling it, then reduce the cost. Reduce the amount I pay for mobile service and internet. Otherwise, it's fraud. Section 159, Group Elite, Part 4. Got it, you bastards? Got it.
Группа элит, часть 4, ясно, сука, блядь? Ясно вам, блядь?
Now, Putin claims that these internet shutdowns have to do with security forces, who believe that this is the only way to stop Ukrainian drones. But Russians are noticing holes in Putin's logic. That's because if this was actually about the drones, Putin would not be shutting down the internet in the eastern regions of the country, where Ukrainian drones rarely pay a visit. As if that wasn't embarrassing enough. If we look at what Putin is not shutting down, it tells us the true goal of what he's trying to achieve. The foreign social media apps like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook are already banned inside the country. But now authorities are also clamping down on WhatsApp and Telegram, two apps the Russians use a lot to communicate. And that's exactly what Putin doesn't want. He doesn't want Russians using apps that he cannot control. That's why, all the while he's shutting down all these apps, government apps like Macs and government news websites and Putin's favorite newspapers are not blocked on the internet at all. That means if Russians want to talk, they can talk on the Kremlin-approved app. If they want to read, they can read their news from Kremlin-approved sources. And if they want to browse the internet, they can browse the Kremlin's closed-off net. Now, the question rises, why is Putin doing this and why is he doing it now? Well, the answer is money. The government is running out of money and Putin has nowhere to turn to but his own people. That's why the Russian parliament just approved one of the highest tax increases ever, all the while cutting down on social services that were funding many poor Russians' lives. Now, I know Putin says that he's a history buff, but maybe he should pick up a book about the American Revolution. Tax increases are usually a very bad idea. And guess what? Things are heating up inside Russia right now. Riots in Novorossiysk. Russians protest against tax increases and corruption. On the eve of the action, the organizer was detained right in the entrance of his house. A similar rally was planned to be held in Vladivostok, but local authorities refused permit under the pretext of celebrating Christmas. Now, we'll get into the details of why some of these rallies are being cancelled forcefully, but before we do that, here's the message from one of the protesters. Take a look.
People, how much can they rob us? They are openly and brazenly robbing us all. And you, dear police officers, too. Because this VOD is nothing more than outright robbery of the people. There is incremental value. And what is added value? It's a tax on a tax. Just think about it. This tax is charged on practically every item, every product. We all pay it. 20%. For what? so that someone could live well and eat well. We already pay almost 70% of our salary in taxes. Everyone has 13% taken out of their salary, plus 20% VAT. Do the math. Add up all these taxes on real estate, land taxes, and car taxes. Add up all these taxes. We work and live to pay taxes. Is that normal? How did we live in the Soviet Union without these predatory taxes? We had the best education in the world. We had free, wonderful housing for every family, wonderful medicine, advanced science. We were a leading country in almost all respects, ahead of the rest of the world, without this robbery. People, enough is enough. They're just robbing us all blind.
Now, you see, Russia is a very unique place where you can complain, but you cannot complain about Putin. You can protest, but you need permission from the government, and you cannot protest against the Kremlin. Well, this is where things went a little off track for Putin. On November 6th, protesters organized a protest in Vladivostok against tax increases. They got the usual permit from the local authorities, but during the protest, things got heated, and some slogans were chanted that were against Putin and the Kremlin's policy. That's something little Vladimir just cannot afford. That's why, when the second time these protesters asked for a permit, authorities said no, saying that they need that area for Christmas. Now, I don't know too much about Russian Orthodoxy, but I looked it up, and Russian Christmas is on January 7th. So they must be planning some elaborate festivities for them to need more than 2 months to plan the area. Now, this is not something that's just happening in Vladivostok. We have another Serbian city which has banned protest against a protest ban. Sometimes I feel like I'm reading in